Okay. The question is, are all chemicals liquid? Well, I won't say who asked the question, but no, of course not. You know, if you think about room temperature, some things are solids and some are liquids. You look around you, the walls are solid. I mean, everything is a chemical. And then the student said, well, gold is a chemical. Well, there's two things about chemicals. Okay, the first thing is the word, and this is in the book, I think, right? Is this in chapter 1? Substance. There are two substances. Substance means pure material. That's what substance means. It means pure material. There are only two types of substances in the known universe, and that is elements, such as, hey you! Yo, hey you! Gold, hey you, gold. Lead, and there's like 118 of them that we know. There's like 100, I think the book says 100, the book was written. When I was in school, there was, we had up to 103 when I was in school. Now they're up to 118. So we have elements. I mean, name an element. Silver. Name another one. Copper. Name another one. Name another one. Iron. Name another one. Go on, let's go. Elements. Nitrogen. Helium. Phosphorus. What else? Come on. Oxygen. That's a good one. You're breathing oxygen. Talk about taking something for granted. What's it? Magnesium.
Shut up.
What'd you say?
Magnesium.
Magnesium. Yeah. What else? Oh, argon. Argon. What else? Carbon. What else? Boron. What else? What is it? Sodium.
Manganese.
Oh, I like that. Manganese. Sounds like magnesium. Manganese. What is it? Cesium. One of my favorite ones to pronounce. Click. Ready? Molybdenum. That's a real one. Molybdenum. Plutonium. I like that one. Plutonium. Californium. What else? How about in smoke detectors? Americium. Spelled like America. It's called americium. What else? One more. Krypton. Now, those are all substances. Those are substances. Okay? Now, there are other substances. Those are elements. Okay? We named all elements. Now, you can take those substances and you can combine them to form compounds. Okay? So you have elements and compounds. Name me some compounds. That's the big one. Compounds. NaCl, salts. I like that. When we say salt, we think we get NaCl. But salt is an enormous classification of substances, salts. Okay? Bone is kind of made of salts. It's calcium phosphate is a salt. Okay? What else? HCl. Okay, that's a good one. Here, this one. When it's in the gaseous state, it's called hydrogen chloride gas. When you dissolve it in water, it's called hydrochloric acid. The old name for hydrochloric acid in the old days is called muriatic acid.
What about H2SO4?
What is it?
Sulfuric acid.
Sulfuric acid. Okay? Lie. You know what they used to do? The alchemists, the magicians, when they used to entertain the king, they would take muriatic acid and put it and force feed it into an animal, and the animal would die. It was terribly cruel. Then they would take something called lye, which is sodium hydroxide, and they would take the sodium hydroxide and they would feed it to another animal, right? And then they would take the sodium hydroxide. They take the sodium hydroxide and they would mix it with the hydrochloric acid, right? And then they would drink it, and they would live. Several years later, they would die of heart disease, but they would live, and the king would go, "Oh my God, he's a magician! Yay!" And they would go, because the formula is that's a neutralization reaction.
Sir, that is salt and
That's
water.
I take lye, sodium hydroxide, and it's in toilet cleaners and drain cleaners. Lye, sodium hydroxide, hydrochloric acid. It forms sodium chloride and water. Okay, this is molecular. That's molecular. It's a molecule. This is a ionic compound, covalent compound. This is ionic. It's called a neutralization reaction. Now, what is a compound? A compound is something. It's a pure substance, and it's made from elements, and the compound has its own identifiable set of physical properties. A compound is a substance made of atoms, elements, put together chemically, whereby the compound has a unique set of physical properties. Now, I have two kinds of basic compounds. Okay, I have two kinds of compounds. I have covalent, we call it covalent compounds. We call them molecules. You've heard of molecules? Covalently put together, covalently bonded elements. Take the earbuds off, thank you. Okay, is that on there, molecules? Is that on there? Yes, I know it's on the board, on the camera. Yes. Okay, and then we have things that are ionic, like sodium chloride. Who said sodium chloride? Sodium chloride, it's ionic. Okay? We have things that are ionic. We call them, you know what we call them? We call them formula units. We call them formula units. Okay, I know it sounds weird, a chemical formula. Well, formula can have many different meanings.
Sir, is there another bond?
Excuse me? Whoa, what?
Metallic bond?
You have metallic bonds too. But metallic bonds are in elements that are solids, such as gold, silver, etc. Metallic bonds are also in alloys, but an alloy is not a compound. Okay, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that in a minute. What time is it now? All right, time's done. All right, now listen. We'll pick this up tomorrow. Okay, and we'll talk. Tomorrow we're going to talk about we're going to organize matter. Okay, and we'll talk about mixtures, solutions, alloys. This, for instance, is brass. What is brass made of? It's made of, this is brass. You've heard of salt water, which is a solution of water and a solid? You can have solutions of two solids can be a solution as well. Okay? You understood?
Yeah.
We're off.
Oh my God.